All right, I'm back, and now I'm doing cosines. So I don't think I got to do a cosine graph with any of my classes, maybe 7th period, I don't remember. But I do want to do this cosine graph, and I do want to point out that it's going to start in a little bit different place. The good news is the A, B, C, D, it all works the same. What changes is the starting point. With sine, this was 0, 0, so life was easy, and it always started where I expected it to. This one is a little bit different, so I'm not going to explain all of these pieces because you should know them all. In case you have forgotten, period comes from 2 pi over b, and that's where the 4 pi came from, because my b was a half. Okay, but not only that's a half, but the amplitude's a half. So my starting point, I have to do 1/2 times that y value plus whatever my asymptote is, which is a -1, equals, not the asymptote, the midline, excuse me, equals -1/2. So if you do all of this, you get -1/2. So this is where it's starting at -1/2. Well, let's look up here. First of all, this is a -1 midline. Here's the -1 midline. Here's the midline. Okay? The amplitude is right here at the 1/2 because this is one full block. So that's 1 unit up. But the amplitude's only a half. And this says it starts at 0, -1/2. Here is 0, -1/2. Excuse me, right there. 0, -1/2. So with cosine, it is a positive cosine. Cosine goes down, back up, down, back up. Okay, so it makes that cup thing going on. But guys, we're on an amplitude. Now the amplitude's not very high. Here's the midline, amplitude, midline, amplitude. So this thing is like bold out here, rainbow there, and it would keep going. Rainbow, okay, where is it going to? Oh, we didn't do this side. So this was on an amplitude, midline, amplitude, midline, amplitude. It may be a little easier to graph it if it wasn't so stretched out here. This is rather stretched out, okay? But that's what it looks like. There's your cosine curve, okay? Remember, this is the beginning. This is the end of one period, but I want 2 periods. My second period, I went backwards with it, okay? All right, let's look at the next one. This is the next one, and this time it's a negative cosine. Look at these cosines being oh so mean. Okay, so the fact that it's negative, I have negative times 1, because that's the value that goes in there, plus 1. So it's actually starting on 0, 0. So I've got all of my lines marked out. So this is at y equals 1. It's starting 0, 0. Oh, here's my x-axis. It's also an amplitude line. So there it is. It's down at the bottom. And you're going, but wait a minute, we started on the bottom amplitude. Yes, because it's a negative cosine. So now it's going to go up to the midline, up to the top, down to the midline, down to the bottom. Now I want you to look at this, because this is the second half of the bowl, the rainbow, and back to a bowl again. I just want to know that it turns and goes up. It doesn't take off and cross that asymptote. You're going, cosine isn't supposed to do that. It's supposed to go the other way. That's true, but the cosine was negative, so it flipped it upside down. If I could flip it around, which I can because it's paper, okay? Do you see how this is the cosine that you wanted to start at the top and go down. It is that same cosine. Okay? All right. I have to do the other half. So we got to go back to the midline, up to the amplitude, down to the midline, down to the amplitude line. So we have a bowl and a rainbow and a bowl, and that's where the arrow goes. And we have a little arrow that lives right there. Done. What do you think? Is it getting easier? I hope so. All right. 2 more. This one is a mean magical one. Okay, it does start at 2. So here's the X. Pay attention to where your X is. 1, 2. Here's the midline. Midline. Okay. Now, this one, I am going to graph where this would be if we didn't have that lovely little change right there. Okay? It would have started, it's positive, it would have started on the top amplitude line. It would have started here. Oh, I just noticed I didn't mark my lines on here. I guess I left it to show you how to do it. Okay, so marking my lines, my increments, remember, it's P over 4. So 2 over 4 at 2 pi. Gosh, what am I saying, P over 4? It is the period over 4, which was 2 pi. I'm crazy. Okay, so that reduces to pi over 2. So this is pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. And negative, you can always read it going backwards. But counting by half is pretty easy to do. 3 pi over 2, negative 4 pi. Okay? And now I'm going to start at the top, go to the midline, go to the bottom, go to the midline, go to the amplitude line, go to the midline. Oh, no, I don't have to keep going. I was just kidding. Okay, this one is at the top, so I had to go to the midline, go to the bottom amplitude line, go to the midline, go to the top line. Look, bowl. Whoops, that was rainbow. Bowl, rainbow, bowl, rainbow, arrow, arrow, because I don't want to lose points forgetting that they don't continue forever. The end. Oh, jeez, it's not the end. That's the one that happens. We got to dot this line, guys. I messed up. That's where it would be if it didn't shift. We have a shift. Oh, yeah. We have a shift, all right. Our shift is at negative pi over 4. So this is pi over 2. Here's pi over 4. But it doesn't go pi over 4 way. It's negative pi over 4. So that means this dot has to move back to here. It means every dot moves back 1 line exactly. And if it moved back, boy, that's easy for me to say. If it moved back enough, it would look just like a sine graph, wouldn't it? Shock and awe. Okay, our purple one is the actual line. All right, so this is our rainbow. And I'm going to get my arrow down there. Okay, bowl, rainbow, bowl, rainbow. And I know that some of you all are going to go, okay, that double line is wigging me out. I don't like having 2 lines. You can use a highlighter to do the first line so that your bold line's the one that works. You don't have to put the other line in there. You can erase it when it's done if you so desire. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. The last one. Okay. Let's make some room. Here we go. Oh, it really took up a lot of space. There we go. All right, so let's get to this one. Oh, This is when it's going to flip and it's going to shift. Oh my goodness, all kinds of craziness is going on. Period, it's pi. It's 2 pi over 2, which is pi. So the increment is equal to pi over 4. I have the 2, and I have that this has midline of 0. It's going to be right here. That's already covered. So I need to be increments of pi over 4. So that's 1/4 pi, 2/4 pies, 3/4 pies, pi. And this is pi over 2 because 2/4 is 50 cents, which is $0.50. Okay? This is negative pi over 4, pi over 2, negative 3 pi over 4, negative pi. There we go. We've got them all in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start a cosine graph. Now the cosine graph would normally start up here and go to here. It's not going to start up here because it's negative, so it starts down below. Negative, up to the midline, up to the top, back to the midline, down to the bottom. Midline, top, midline, bottom. You see how they make this kind of chevron kind of look going on. Now if you don't want to go ahead and graph those, I'm going to pull another color in and say, what is the shift? Now look at this. All my work's already here. My shift is pi over 6, and you can see that I set what was in parentheses equal to 0. All my work's right here. So that means I have got to shift this thing by pi over 6. So I'm starting at negative 2, but I'm also starting over at pi over 6. Well, if pi over 4 is there, remember that's 45 degrees. So pi over 6 is just before it. Pi over 3 is just after it. It would be somewhere in between. So this would be about here. Now you see where I did that? Because every pink dot, I'm going to make an orange one just a little to the left. Every last one. And I am color coding it so it's easier to tell. Okay? So instead of connecting my pink dots, I'm going to connect the orange ones. This is a bowl. There's a rainbow. This one's a bowl. This one's a rainbow. And one of the students told me, you know, saying that it's a bowl and a rainbow really does help. And I said, yeah, right. It something with our psyche tells us, don't make it a chevron. It's not pointy. It is a sine curve. Look at that beautiful sine curve. I'm done. That's a sine curve. It's a cosine curve as well, as we know. It's just been shifted over a little bit because it looks like the sine would start about here. It is cosine. But I only know because this was my starting point. And maybe we should do that. Where was my starting point on this one? Cosine. This one shifted by pi over 4. Oh, is it negative pi? It was negative pi over 4. Oh, it was the one in purple. Good grief. Here's my starting point. There we go. All right. Have a good one. Oh, you couldn't see what I was doing. I was looking for it. It's right there. Have a good night or a good day.